After knitting and wet processing, socks are normally hot-pressed into the two-dimensional shape of a lower leg and foot. This process is called boarding. Cotton socks are boarded, which is a form of pressing for packaging and shape retention. For blends containing stretch fibers, such as spandex, and socks that contain thermoplastic fibers, such as nylon or polyester, the boarding temperature is high enough for heat setting, which will give the sock a memory for the shape in which it is boarded, preventing high shrinkage. There are various technologies for boarding, however all have the components of a boarding form, steam, heat, and pressure. Most boarding machines have a foot form for the size of sock being processed, a steaming and pressing station, and a doffing system. Some machines are primarily manually operated, while others have some material handling components. First, let's take a look at a conventional boarding system where the operator loads the socks onto boarding forms and moves them through steaming and pressing stations. The forms are in the shape of a foot with a formed heel and move in a counterclockwise circle through the boarder and back around to the operator. The forms stop and the operator loads two socks. The forms then move forward and two empty forms take their place. This happens in a continuous manner. Inside the boarder, the socks are steamed and pressed to relax any stress in the yarns and to give the socks the shape of a foot. To the left of the operator is the doffing conveyor, which delivers the socks back to the operator, who then moves them to a table. Now let's look at a different boarding station. The operator places the sock on a form that is straight and not in the shape of a foot. The sock is positioned with the heel pocket towards or away from her. A mirror opposite the operator allows a clear view of both sides of the sock so the heel can be properly aligned. These socks are identified as left or right. The right sock is placed with the heel away from the operator, and the left sock is placed with the heel towards the operator. Care is given to remove any wrinkles and twist in the sock that might have occurred in loading the form. The boarding or steam pressing of the sock takes place forward and to the right of the operator. The movement of the socks is a start and stop procession, based on the amount of time the sock needs to remain in the pressing compartment. This allows the operator to load socks continuously. After boarding, socks are automatically doffed onto a conveyor, which dumps them into a truck, a box, or other type of container. Some boarding machines are part of a continuous system that packages the socks after boarding. This machine has the boarding forms on a horizontal carousel. The operator's sitting position is next to the sock supply and the carousel. She places the socks on the boards, being careful to align the heel and toe pockets onto the boarding form's heel. After the sock is loaded, the form rotates clockwise into the pressing chambers. A typical production rate is between 25 and 30 socks per minute. Notice to the operator's right, a mechanical doffing device pulls the boarded sock off the form and places the sock on a conveyor belt. The socks are rotated into position between two pressing heads called bucks. These are typically heated, and steam may be injected into the sock to aid pressing and relaxation of the sock's yarns. On this machine, there are 3 sets of pressing heads, and each sock gets pressed 3 times. After boarding, the socks are removed from the forms by a pair of rotating pinch rolls. Each sock is pulled off and placed onto a conveyor belt. Once removed from the board, the conveyor presents the sock to a lifting device that picks the sock up and places it on a holding table. Another sock is placed on top of the first. The holding table has a slot in the middle, and once the sock is placed over the slot, a paddle comes down and presses the middle of the socks into the slot, thereby folding them in half and dropping them onto a lower conveyor belt. The view is now from the other side of the conveyor system. The folded pair of socks are moving forward on the belt, which stops, and the pair is pushed onto an elevator, which drops the sock down into another conveyor, which collects 3 pairs of socks together. The pairs then move to another elevator, which lifts them up to a crossing conveyor, which in turn transfers them to another conveyor that moves from left to right. At the end of this conveyor, the socks are delivered to a work table where an inspector checks and assembles the socks for packaging for sale. In this facility, the white socks are then placed into 2 stacks of 3 pairs onto a packaging system, and the black socks are placed on another table for packaging elsewhere. A close-up view from the other side of the packaging unit shows the socks being sorted into 2 piles of 6. They are then conveyed into the packaging system. The product bag is inflated with air, so the 6 pairs of socks can be pushed into the bag by a plunger. The bags are advanced to a point where the air is removed and the end is sealed. The packaged socks are ejected from the system into a collection box.